Hello friends, welcome once again to the channel IT Simplified. I hope you're finding these videos useful and subscribing to channel. In today's session, I'm here to talk about Veritas SaaS, also called Software as a Service Backup for Office 365, why you should use it and what are the benefits. But before I get into that, let's look at and start from basic what Office 365 is, because what we see is that a lot of customers they are moving towards these SaaS application and utilizing this in the environment. So let's start from the basic understanding of what Office 365 is. Then we'll look into what are the challenges being offered, and finally we'll come to how Veritas Software as a Service Backup can help you in protecting these SaaS application. So the first thing that comes to your mind is when we talk about O365 is services such as Exchange Online, and this you have your mailboxes, calendar, contacts, etc. That's the most common one that people generally hear. Then they also have OneDrive for storing data. Then they have collaborative sites such as SharePoint, Teams. All these are part of Office 365 services. Now, because they are software as a service, the common misconception among people is that they don't need to worry about the data, they don't need to worry about the mailboxes, the content which is there in the OneDrive, the SharePoint sites, and all these will be taken care. And that is where the problem is, because from the organizational point of view, there is very critical data that they have on this these SaaS applications. So it is very important that they understand what is their responsibility and what will be the responsibility of the vendor. In this case, we are talking about Microsoft, because that is their product, Office 365. So let's start. For example, if you have moved your on-prem Exchange server and using Exchange Online, that's the only component, say for example, you're using from Office 365 suite of services. Now, once you subscribe to Exchange Online and your users are sending and exchanging mail, and say for example they don't do anything, your data will be kept for a certain duration of time, depending upon what level that you choose, maybe 1 or 2 year, and after that that will be archived. So no problem, that is archived, right? But what happens in real world case scenario is a lot of customers, they or there are a lot of users in the environment, they accidentally delete information, right? So there is a problem of deletion. And there is nothing wrong with that, that this happens every now and then. The user accidentally deletes something, but they need to retrieve the information. Now, again, depending upon what level of licensing that you're using, Microsoft will keep the data for a certain amount of time, and then it will be moved to the recycle bin. The recycle bin, that for example that you're using your regular computer, it goes over there, right? Maybe if you start with a couple of users, maybe 4 or 5, it's okay, maybe you can go and retrieve from recycle bin. Still, I won't consider that option. But as these users grow and they start deleting accidentally, that will pile up in the recycle bin. And personally, I don't rely on the recycle bin to restore my data. And when we talk about hundreds and thousands of users, that can quickly add up the recycle bin, and you're trying to retrieve that information, it can be a challenge. So it's very important that you have some backup and recovery solution in place in case something like this happens. You're able to restore and put that in the right place. So accident deletion is very important, and you need to have the solution in place to protect it. Other thing that we see is happening in the organization is the malicious attacks. both within inside as well as outside the organization. We all know that ransomware has become an acute problem in which these bad guys host your data for ransom, right? And you need to, in case you want to get access to the data, you need to pay the money. So it's important that you need to have those solutions in place in case something hacks into or breach into the security of your organization. You can protect it that. And other use case scenario, which is again very common that we see, is maybe there is a user, internal user, uh, maybe because of some reason he's trying to copy the information. Maybe he's let go from the company, and what he does is that he just deletes maybe his email or the content on the OneDrive, which you might need as an organization. And what happens in case that is deleted and you don't have that data to restore from? So it's important that you need to have. So all these malicious attacks, both from inside as well as external threats, you need to have again those solutions in place. So that's another reason. Other thing is from compliance perspective, because all these exchanges, communication are happening via the email. A lot of organization now requires you to be compliant and wants you make sure that your data is protected, and in case that is needed, you're able to provide that to the organization. So from the compliance perspective, you need to make sure that you're able to provide that information and are able to keep the data for a certain amount of time. So that's another reason why you need to keep the data for. And in case, God forbid, organization has to go some sort of litigation, right? We always hear every now and then that company was sued, and in the court of law, you need to provide these emails as a proof, whatever exchanges has happened. So you need to have those in place. And e-discovery is another component which comes when you talk about litigation, because when you try to find that single file or single folder or maybe the whole mailbox, sometimes it's very difficult. So you need to have those solutions in place in case from the court perspective that data is asked for. Now, because Office 365 is a SaaS application, Microsoft will make sure that they're highly available, but they're not liable for your data. And as I said that in all these scenarios, whether the data is accidentally deleted, whether it is a malicious attack, from compliance and from litigation reason, you need to provide that information. You need to have that solution, and the only way you can do that is to have a backup and recovery solution. So I hope that is clear why you need to have the solution. Now let's look into how Veritas has backup and what are the benefits of that, right? So when we're talking about Veritas SaaS backup, for O365, and Veritas has been protecting your information and one of the top vendor from data management perspective. Some of the benefits that I see is that there is no hardware, there is no software needed for this solution. And the reason why important is the way I generally understand is you generally go with the SaaS application because you don't want to manage that underlying infrastructure. You don't want to manage the server. You don't want to manage but the storage and all those kind of stuff. So in order to protect those kind of application, you want to make sure that you have a solution which is very similar. Now with Veritas as backup, there is no servers, there is no hardware. You don't need to attach any software. It's completely web-based solution. You add your Office 365 subscription, and it will automatically protects it. It backs up the data 6 times a day for you. Right, so every 4 hours it will do the backup, and there is no management overheads in this case. It comes with unlimited storage. Storage is another big factor when we're talking about backing up. So if you're trying to back up that OneDrive, it's 1 terabyte. That Exchange mailbox, regardless of what is the size, the SharePoint size, the team's data, you get unlimited storage blended with your solution. So that's another big thing. There is no management cost, as I said. There's no management overhead because everything is managed for you. You just specify the policy. You get role-based access control. You can specify that a person can add that subscription in the environment. You can specify what role. So there are different roles within this. You can all specify. So all this part of the Veritas has backup, and you can choose to have unlimited retention. By default, you get a 1 year retention with the solution. But as I mentioned that from the compliance perspective, if say for example you're in the health business, they require you to keep the data for a certain amount of years. So you can choose to keep the data depending upon what retention you want. You can choose from 2 year, 3 year, and you can all the way go up to unlimited. So these are some of the reason which Veritas SaaS backup provides you, and also as a benefits that it gives you to protect your Office 365 SaaS application. I hope you found this video on the benefits of Office 365 backup with using Veritas SaaS. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.